My guest right now is Ted Seifried. He is with Zaner Ag Hedge. And Ted, we've seen a little bit of this and a little bit of that this morning so far. We've got the export numbers out there. Anything really kind of catch your attention right now?
Like you said, we've got a big division of what's happening here in the row crops, but you can throw wheat in there as well. I'll start with wheat. Wheat has got to be really disappointing. You know, we had the two reversals higher, big key reversal after a contract low. And so far, Chris, we've just not been able to do anything with it. No follow through to the upside. I will say from a technical perspective, that is still a positive influence on the chart until we take out that low, i.e. make new contract low. So maybe it's just back and fill kind of waiting. I don't know, but it's really got to be disappointing for anybody trying to be bullish wheat right now to not get any sort of follow through from that key reversal that we had on Monday. As far as the row crops are concerned, corn under a bit of pressure. I do get the feeling that all of this rain that's happening across the Midwest right now is maybe leaning on the corn just a little bit, along with those lower wheat prices, just based on the idea that we're alleviating a bit of the drought concerns that we were having. Right now, it will slow down any sort of field work, but we've had a whole lot of really good weather to get some things done. I think this rain is very welcome for a lot of people. And again, kind of cooling off that corn market a little bit. And in the meantime, you've got soybeans just doing their own thing, really extending higher. This was all kind of, it's actually been going on for a little bit, but triggered yesterday by the CODAM number coming in 2.5 million metric tons below their previous estimate. They're now a little over 8 million metric tons lower than the USDA number. USDA's obviously been very stubborn to lower their number. So now it's reinvigorating the conversation of the USDA is going to have to have a, come or day reckoning and really, really lower that number at some point. I don't necessarily agree with that, Chris. I've been pretty vocal as to why. I think the USDA realizes that they should have had a higher starting point for this year's Brazilian soybean crop, which is why they've been really reluctant to lower it because they've had to go in and revise the last 4 years higher, and not by any small margins, by average of 6%, right? So I think the USDA is doing their things for USDA reasons. We'll see. But either way, the market got excited about that, and we're getting some short covering after we saw the last commitment of traders report showing funds at a record short bean position. Well, they've cleared out of some of that apparently, or it seems like here in the last few days. Now, we are well off our highs at this point, though, Chris. So, bear market bounces have these tendencies to put in sort of spike highs. We need to watch today really closely, because if we end up closing unchanged or near unchanged or below unchanged today, that's going to look really not great on a chart in an overall bear market bounce sort of way. So, I think today and tomorrow are kind of big day from technical perspective for a lot of these things, but soybeans in particular.
All right. So help me put it into perspective really quick. On the soybeans out of South America, even though they continue to reduce that, it's still going to be a historical crop, is it not?
Ooh, it depends on who you ask. If you're listening to CONAB and other private agencies in Brazil, then no, it's going to fall short of last year's crop. But the USDA is still holding it at or just above that. So yeah. Now here's the thing, Chris. I think what you're actually asking is if you put it together with Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, and the South America as a whole, yes, it is a historic crop for them.
Absolutely. I tell you what, Ted, stick with me. We're going to go away and take a real quick commercial break. We're talking to Ted Seifried. Stay with us. And Ty, Ted, we've seen all kinds of movement in the livestock, and now we've seen some really sharply higher trading, and this morning a little bit of reversal, and I see that grin on your face. I'm anxious to hear what you got to say.
Well, yeah, Ted, Fred, Frank, whatever. But, first of all, let's just say hogs, hey, hogs are just watching all the fireworks happening in other markets. This is a placeholder day for the hogs. It really doesn't mean anything on the chart. And we're not far off of unchanged, at least not right now. It's a long day yet, so we'll see. But yeah, kind of like you said, a bit of pressure across the live cattle complex. Feeders are the leaders to the downside. That's generally speaking what you want to see in terms of giving you sense of direction. And it's felt like the feeder cattle have wanted to kind of roll over to the downside for a little bit after 2 days of a bounce. The fact that we're having a outside reversal lower day in the feeder cattle kind of suggests that maybe they do want to have this correction. So we're watching that. And then April live cattle, we had a new high close for pretty much the calendar year, or at least actually since early December. And then here today, we're reversing lower, which is interesting. Again, we've just been kind of running into this brick wall overhead. And although we've been inching up higher on some of these closes, we've not really been able to extend that strength higher. So at some point, when you keep running into a wall like that, Chris, sometimes that just means we're due for a little bit of a technical correction. And you get that feeling. I don't think anything's fundamentally really changed in the cattle complex. I do think that the prices that we've been at have been justified. In fact, I could see some higher prices further on down the line. But again, sometimes to be healthy, markets need to correct. We've talked about it in the grains. We're seeing it right now. Can we see that in the cattle complex as well? And I get the feeling that maybe that could be the case.
Absolutely. And we always know they got volatility in there. Ted, really do appreciate you taking the time to be with us this morning as Ted Seifried. And Tammy, I got his name right, I think.
You did. Third time's a charm. I love it.
He's a great guy. Let me tell you.
He's a great guy.
He's really interesting to listen to. So,
very smart.
Very
Always
knows
good
his
input.
stuff. Yeah.